Welcome back for another daily dose of anime recaps. Today we'll be covering episodes 4 through 6 of the newly released anime Blue Lock. It's been a dream for Japan to win the World Cup, but it never became a reality. As a result, the Japanese Football Union hires the soccer enigma Eigo Genpachi, who plans to create the best team and the best striker in the world by using the Blue Lock training facility. Yoichi Isagi, an unknown high school soccer player, takes the plunge and joins the program to be the best player in the world. Before we begin, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that bell icon. Isagi and his teammates now see the value of playing for each other instead of their personal self-interests following their humiliating loss to Team Y. They set up a meeting before their next game. Everyone on the squad discloses their weapons or unique skills so that a plan may be developed based on them. Isagi realizes that while his roommates are all highly aware of their special weapons, he's unable to come up with anything in particular. Along with Isagi, Chikiri also does not disclose his weapon. However, unlike Isagi, Chikiri seems to be aware of his weapon but chooses not to reveal it for other purposes. Raichi assumes he does this for selfish reasons. The team thinks this plan will go to waste if everyone just aims at taking their own time under the spotlight. Kuon, the brain of the team, comes up with a strategy where everyone gets time to shine. The strategy isn't revealed to us yet, but we see everyone giving it their all during practice. Later that evening, Isagi reflects on his first week at the Blue Lock as he sits by himself in the cafeteria. Isagi is beginning to believe that maybe he has no weapon of his own. This is when Kunigami approaches him to thank him for the pass in the previous game. Isagi uses this opportunity to clear some of his thoughts. He asks Kunigami for the reason behind playing soccer. As dumb as the question might sound at the start, Kunigami instantly replies that he wants to be a superhero. Here we get a little backstory of Kunigami. Kunigami reveals that when he was little, he adored strikers who scored goals and were game changers. Growing up, fictional superheroes, robots, or pirate kings meant nothing to him. Soccer heroes were not made up. Rather, they inspired him and gave him strength in real life. Kunigami admits that he doesn't give a damn if others make fun of him for it, but he wants to be like these superheroes that he looks up to. Isagi finds Kunigami's resolve to be commendable. Kunigami shares his lavish dinner with Isagi as a token of gratitude for the pass. Kunigami is confused as to why Isagi gave him the pass despite the fact that the other player was more open and Kunigami was surrounded by the enemy. Isagi has not put much thought into it yet, but he admits that it was all unconscious. Isagi states that he understood Kunigami's free kick strength because of the tag game, which gave him the confidence to pass the ball to him. What's surprising is that Isagi mentions that he could somehow smell a goal. Perhaps this could be our protagonist's weapon? Team Z is up against Team Y, who also failed in their opening game, raising the prospect of the group's disqualification. As a result, tensions are high. Everyone is desperate to win. Before match 4 between Team Z and Team Y begins, Kuon warns his team that they have to keep their eyes on Okawa, whose shooting is off the chart. Here, we learn the ultra-offensive strategy Kuon had planned earlier. All positions will be rotated, except for the goalkeeper, and depending on who the striker is at the moment, the rest of the team will strive to play in his style and keeping in mind his weapon. They have opted to rotate from the highest to the lowest rank. Bakira is the game's first striker, followed by Kunigami. The method that Bakira uses to advance as far upfield as possible on his own is dribbling. He moves past 2 opponents. However, Bakira is blocked by Iki Niko that has fully studied Bakira's dribbling tactics. Isagi claims that although their opponent is playing defense and attempting to neutralize their weapons, Team Z's approach is extremely aggressive and relies on a lot of weapons. Isagi thinks that at some point one weapon will work out. After 10 minutes, the squad switches positions, with Kunigami starting as the striker. Since his weapon is a left-footed mid-range shot, Isagi is aware that Kunigami would rush to the front line, where they must pass the ball to him so he may try to shoot. They carry out the plan flawlessly, but to everyone's surprise, Team Y is able to block Kunigami's powerful shot. Isagi notes that Okawa isn't even moving, while the other squad is merely playing defensively. Another attempt by Kunigami to score a goal goes to waste. As soon as Niko receives the ball, Okawa begins sprinting, and this gives Isagi a clue about what is actually happening. Niko shoots a long pass for Okawa, leaving him alone against the goalkeeper. Team Y easily scores a goal. After another 10 10 minutes have passed, Team Z switches positions once more, with Kuon moving up to striker. High jumps are Kuon's weapon, and he uses it to give the ball to Kunigami. However, Nico takes the ball while Kunigami is busy pondering his next move. Team Y begins passing the ball among themselves, as they are in the lead and they don't need to rush. Halftime passes and everyone is upset since some of them spent their entire 10 minutes without the ball. The squad is also concerned that if they have put too much pressure on the enemy, they would start a counterattack, which would allow Okawa to score another goal. Chigiri advises them to concentrate on Bakira and Kunigami instead of spending time on pointless weapons. However, Kuon argues that it's too late to change the plan. The second half of the game begins, but nothing has changed. Isagi accidentally shoots an early cross that Gagamaru almost misses, but thanks to his agility, he barely reaches the ball and hits a header, which unfortunately the goalie blocks. Although they get a corner, Isagi has a terrible feeling that if the enemy receives the ball, this may end badly. Team Z gets ready for the corner. Isagi believes that this is their first opportunity to score, but then gets some kind of premonition. He surprises his teammates by running backward. Isagi points out that he misjudged the situation. It wasn't Okawa that was ruining the game for Team Z, but it was Nico that was calling the shots, and Team Y depended on him. Team Y players attempt to throw the ball to Nico, like they've been doing for the whole game, but before they could realize Isagi is already out in front of them, blocking his way and seizing control of the ball. He then attempts to shoot at the goal, but misses. Gagamaru, on the other hand, is nimble and redirects the ball into a goal. The current score is 1-1. Nico is not shocked that Isagi realized that he was a key component of his team's counterattack strategy. The outcome of the game now strongly hinges on these two and their course of action. Despite the fact that Isagi has now recognized that Nico is in charge of Team Y, the other team's strategist remains unfazed. Nico claims that Isagi has the same eyes as him, but he is still superior to Isagi and will eventually lead his team to victory. It's Naruhaya's turn to be a striker now, and his weapon is slipping past defense easily. Unfortunately, Isagi's pass to Naruhaya gets blocked. However, Isagi knows Team Y's strategy now, so he successfully blocks every pass to Nico. Nico says that when he heard Ego speak about weapons, he thought about how incredibly talented everyone is. Nico knew he couldn't be a better striker than Okawa was. Although he may not be quick or strong, his best weapons are his eyes and brain, which he uses to evaluate field situations and coordinate others. Isagi might be able to stop Nico's attacks, but can he really stop his ideas? As the game nears its end, Team Y's strategy abruptly changes. The group has avoided playing an offensive game thus far by playing defense. They are just passing the ball among themselves, and Team Z begins thinking that Team Y is just going to settle for a draw. Isagi, who is trailing Nico to prevent him from contacting Okawa, knows that Team Y just lacks someone who can start an attack. It's not that they don't want to attack. With barely 1 minute remaining, it's time for Team Y to employ their revenge strategy, which they only do when they are bound and encircled by the enemy. The plan begins when Okawa takes up the ball in their own half of the field, but in contrast to the first 89 minutes, Okawa won't be going on the offensive alone. The entire Team Y joins the attack as Okawa receives the ball. Isagi is baffled, and so are the rest of his team members. It's impossible to catch up with Nico, and the goalkeeper, Lemon, is his only opponent. Lemon concentrates on attempting to block Nico's shot as the career of the entire team hinges on it. Nico, however, sends the ball to Okawa instead of shooting. No one in Isagi or his team had anticipated it, and now it seems that a defeat is unavoidable, if it weren't for Isagi's weapon. Isagi lets his instinct take over and stops the ball in the area that smells most like a goal. At the perfect moment, Isagi blocks the pass to Okawa in the penalty area. Isagi is finally giving off some main character energy, and we also see character development. Nico is like the old version of Isagi, who used to be willing to pass the ball in the last moments. According to Isagi, this characteristic of Nico makes him unfit to be a striker. Unlike Nico, Isagi wants to take shots now and win instead of passing the ball and regretting later. Isagi then launches a counterattack by passing to Kunigami, who then passes to Bakira. Bakira sends a ball into the penalty area. Although Gagamaru tries to reach the ball, he falls, but it doesn't matter because the pass was never intended for him, but for Isagi, who closes the gap and shoots, making it 2-1 and giving Team Z their much-needed win. We thought Isagi's game-winning goal was the highlight of Blue Lock's 5th episode, but the really interesting scene is the immediate aftermath, where Isagi turns to face Team Y, who have been kicked out of the Blue Lock program. He knows he just destroyed their soccer career in Japan. And contrary to what we would normally expect from Isagi, he feels happy about ending their careers. He's content that he was able to do so while they were unable to. While questioning how Isagi was able to scent the goal as he claims to, Team Z celebrates and shares their meal. On the other side, Isagi struggles to sleep. He still feels ecstatic about the goal he scored that gave them the victory. He enters the monitor room where he finds Chigiri, the character that has been a complete mystery to us until now. According to Chigiri's observations, Isagi has high spatial awareness. Although now he uses his weapon instinctively, Isagi can learn to do it on purpose. Isagi compliments him for being the tip. Then he questions what Chigiri's weapon is. Once more, Chigiri refuses to reveal, but Isagi insists. Chigiri narrates that he had a right ACL injury a year ago. Before that, his weapon helped in scoring many goals. However, the doctor warned him that his career might end if he receives the same injury again. Although his leg is completely healed, he still worries that it may get hurt again, causing him to lose his dream of pursuing a career in soccer. Chigiri confesses that he came to Blue Lock looking for an excuse to give up on his dream, and that now that he's seen Isagi's remarkable goal, he might be able to do so. Isagi refuses to believe that Chigiri wants to give up. Meanwhile, Ego has decided to spice things up by adjusting everyone's rank. Isagi is now the top member of his team. As a striker, they are required to establish their value through goals, and the more significant the goals, the higher their rank. According to Ego, after choosing your weapon, honing it to perfection is then the next step to becoming a striker. Then Ego reveals that Team Z is going up against Team W in a day. As soon as Kuon signals the end of the training, everyone is about to go to the bathroom. Isagi thinks about the best way to polish his weapon. He decides to work on his physique so that he can run for the full 90 minutes and be ready to perform when the time comes. As he begins to run, everyone joins him because they cannot allow the top-ranked member of Team Z to overtake them. In the end, Ego comments that being an outstanding player places you at the center of any future conflicts among the team members, possibly foreshadowing what's to come. Kuon, who mostly assists Team Z with on-field strategy, joins late. When he appears, he looks a little flushed and says he was trying to come up with their upcoming strategy. In order to make the best use of each player's strengths, he suggests that a group of 3 different strikers be used for equal amounts of time during the game. The 7th match between Team W and Team Z begins. The Wanima brothers take the ball and quickly pass players with their combinations. Chigiri and Isagi are defenders, and the brothers seem to recognize Chigiri. They claim that, as his former teammates, they know that his career as a soccer player has ended with his injury. This makes Chigiri question his next move. In the meantime, Isagi steals the ball after tackling Junichi and tells Chigiri to forget the past and focus on the present game. Team Z counterattacks and Kuon scores with his head after receiving the ball. Once again, the Wanima brothers are distracted, which allows Kunigami to seize the ball and pass it to Bakira. Bakira notices that no one is guarding Kuon, so he gives him a high pass, and they subsequently score a second goal. One of the Wanima brothers makes a foul, which gives Bakira a free shot. He again delivers Kuon a high pass, after noticing how poorly the opponents are guarding him. Kuon then completes his hat trick with another shot. Team Z leads 3-0 at the end of the first half. Kuon is on fire, and Team Z likes this new strategy. What could possibly go wrong from here? Kuon makes a mistake, which allows Team W to steal the ball and score their first goal. Then Team Z begins in the middle. Isagi receives a pass from Kuon that he wasn't expecting. Isagi rushes to the ball since it was under hit, but the Wanima brothers get there first, take the shot, and score. Kuon apologizes for his errors. Isagi notices Kuon wearing a cunning smile, but questions if it was real. Something fishy is going on. Isagi, Bakira, and Kunigami rush to the front. The trio practiced a combination during training in which Isagi serves as the pivot, while the rest form a triangle that pierces the opposition. However, Bakira is tightly blocked and passes the ball back to Isagi. Isagi receives the ball and notices that Kunigami is also being blocked. He finds it weird that the enemy has suddenly changed to follow their precise strategy. It's as if they already knew beforehand what Team Z was planning. Thoughts of Kuon's smile cause him to believe that he has betrayed them, but he brushes the idea off because it just doesn't make sense. Why would Kuon want his team to lose? Next, Team Z gets a high pass in the penalty area. Kuon jumps, but misses the ball. The Wanima brothers take control, shoot, and score to tie the game. Isagi confronts Kuon, who is revealed to be the traitor, leaking the strategy. Kuon says he's doing everything to survive Blue Lock. Once in the center, Kuon then hands the ball over to Team W. Then he declares that it is now 12 versus 10 as he's playing for Team W. Kuon states that winning against Team V in the future is impossible. He reminds Isagi that the striker with the highest number of goals would move on to the next round of selection, even if his team loses. Kuon gave up on the idea of winning as a team long ago. He thanks Isagi for being naive and reminds him that he doesn't need teamwork to win, but only ego. The action in episode 5 started off quickly and remained that way for the majority of the episode, making it the fastest-paced Blue Lock episode yet. This was the episode that received the most attention due to unbelievable goals, character growth, and unexpected betrayal. Will Team Z be able to catch up to Team W? Will there be a draw or a defeat? Even if Team Z somehow wins, will they forgive Kuon and accept him as a team member?